On this podcast, we're going to be talking to all different kinds of people that are all on their own journey and they've all got their own story to tell. We're going to go beneath the surface. My name's Paul Schweiler and I hope you enjoy. All right, Tara.
Yeah, go.
We're on.
Boom.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining my podcast.
So excited.
We actually thought that you flew in this morning, but you come in last night.
Last night, so we can be here on time, ready to roll.
Yeah, well, it's exciting to have you on. So I've got a whole bunch of questions for you, but before we get into a little bit about your past, tell us just a little bit about Powered Poppy. Like, I want to know where the name originated from. Like, how did it happen?
Mm-hmm. So it never was meant to. I never started out with the intention of it being this huge brand. I started it probably for selfish reasons because there were no clothes. Like, I was much larger than what I am now. I was a size 24, 26. And there were no clothes that I wanted to wear as my body changed. Like, I suffered from depression and anxiety and had kids and all, just life stuff. So I'd put on weight, and as I put on weight, there were no longer clothes that were age appropriate or that made me feel good. And it was this big vicious cycle. So I'd just stay home and not go out because I had nothing to wear. And I was looking at all these other brands and what they were doing, and I just thought I could do this better. And I could do this with all women in mind, not just a select few. And I was speaking to some of my friends who were size 6 and they had similar problems. Like, they were shopping in children's sections. So, and they wanted, corporate wear, or they wanted a nice dress to wear to a winery, and they were shopping in the children's section. It just didn't.
My mum shops in children's.
Does she?
She buys her shoes from Bet's Kids.
Your mum is cute. She's cute. She's a little Polly Pocket. But I have good chats with her on Instagram.
She's good value,
actually.
Isn't she?
Yeah. So anyway, so I started the brand with the intention of creating a space where all women could shop. It wasn't a plus size store. It wasn't a standard store. It was a store that could bring everyone together. And
it's clearly done that.
Yeah, we're big on community first.
Do you know what? I was thinking about this the other night. I don't delete messages, but some reason I can't find it. I remember when you text me, I don't know if it was on Insta or text, telling me that you were going to start an online brand. Do you remember that?
Really?
Yeah, I do.
It'll be on my phone somewhere.
I've looked for it ever. I can't find it. But
we actually message each other a lot. Mostly crap.
Yeah, but I tried to search for it because I don't delete messages, but in this instance I can't find it. But I remember when you messaged me and said, I'm about to start a new business and like online clothing brand. And
right. Had you already kicked off?
Real estate?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. And I'm going to be completely honest. Like, when you sent that to me, I was seriously like, another brand. Here we go.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's doing something like this, but yours, I don't think anyone, probably yourself, even expected it to like launch like this.
No, and when I say I didn't ever plan for it to be a huge brand, I never planned for it to be like in the top 1% of e-com stores in Australia. I did plan for it to be something big and special. I leveled myself, like even when I was working out of a tub of clothes in our hallway, I still positioned myself and acted in a way that I was running a big business. And I think that just comes from my background and what I've seen and how I work, my work ethic.
Yeah.
So that probably drove it a lot faster because even now people see us and they think that we are quite large, but this brand that's bigger than what they are, and they don't realize that it's actually just family owned and operated, but we're positioning ourselves with where we want to be. So putting it out to the universe.
Because 3 stores, Doreen, Mentone and Burleigh.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that it?
Not yet.
No. We'll talk about that. Like, what's Proud Poppy? Like, what does it mean?
Yeah.
What does the words mean?
Yeah, so I had the idea for the brand for a really long time. We had everything ready to go, but I just couldn't set on a name. So I couldn't register a business name. I couldn't start a social media. I couldn't get anything up and running. And I was bouncing these ideas out to everyone, and there was actually a brand that I looked up because then you have to see, is that name taken? And often they were taken. And there was one brand that I looked up and they're like, we've changed this name because marketing, it hasn't worked. And I was like, okay, red flag. We're not going to use that one. Something dumb like Phoenix out of the fire or something. Just shit.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that didn't work. But every time I was bouncing, I was like, hey, I'm thinking of starting this brand. What do you think of this name? Everyone would come back and be like, what do you mean you're starting a brand? Like, what you going to do? Like, one of my best friends, she's like, what, you're going to sell dresses? It's like, well, yeah, and other things.
Yeah.
And everyone had an opinion, and it was always a negative opinion and not a, oh, grouse, like, tell me more. Like, that's such a good idea. You love dresses. That's your passion. Everyone... When I was sad, overweight, at home, quiet, no one had anything to say. And the truth is, and it sucks, but people don't want you to be happy. Like, and that's just the way of the world.
That's what they say, like, take notice of the people that are cheering you on when you're doing well.
Right.
And I think that's a fair call, because a lot of people that see you doing well, they disappear a little bit.
Exactly.
But like, who are the ones that actually cheered you on from the beginning?
Yeah.
When you weren't doing that great, or through your scaling up, like who was behind you the whole way? And I'm like, I don't know how many people you feel like were around you from the beginning to now. Would it be a small amount?
I say it's gotten smaller.
Yeah.
The more successful you are, the more noise you make as a woman, the more people try to make you sit down and be quiet.
Do you have haters?
1,000,000%.
How do you deal with that?
They fuel my fire.
They do for me as well. But like, how do you deal with your hate? Like, give me some examples of hate.
This is why I'm not allowed to answer emails anymore, because I'm very transparent. Like, one of our company values is transparency all the time. Own your shit. Like, we fuck up. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, for sure.
But like, that shit happens, we're only human.
Because you told me a while ago, like, people complain if they haven't received their package within the one day that they were expecting it to land, like they're into you. Is that right?
Yeah, so and that's also on us. So we have created this standard where we reply straight away. We have really fast shipping, like we work really hard. But then it's not that we've stepped off, the gas or, dropped out. We've gotten busier, or if we have 100 emails to reply to rather than the 10, or maybe someone's sick or something, then people are like, well, I'm used to getting this instant reply. I'm used to getting my products the next day, which is what we still always strive for. But sometimes stuff happens and, there is a slight delay, but that's because we've set the standard. So if you have set the standard, people do complain, but I understand as well, because it's out of the ordinary.
So give me some examples of hate.
Google review. I hate
hate and trollers. Do you put them in the same category?
No.
Do you get lots of trollers?
Yeah.
Apart from me when I jump on your lives.
Yes. No one wants a VL turbo. Yes. So hate and trolls. To be honest, like, not so much anymore, and it's really great because if it is, often the trolls or the hate will come via DMs or behind a screen where other people can't see things.
Yeah.
And if it is in a public forum, the community jump to my defense. So I don't really have to deal with it anymore. I never claim to be this sweet, innocent little girl that's come from this, like, I've been through shit in my life, but that doesn't shape, it's how you move forward from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, examples of hate. I hate the bogan odor who thinks she's a model, like Google review, like, yeah, I'm a bogan. I
It's
model
just jealousy,
my clothes.
isn't it? It's
like,
just jealousy.
It's just fans. That's just fans.
Someone saying, what you see on social media is totally fake. I went to a small country town's high school with Tara, which I left in year 9, year 10, year 9. So what is that when you're like 15? And she was nothing like what you see now. I'm like,
Yeah, right.
fuck, I hope I wasn't like I was a dick when I was 15. Tell me someone who wasn't a dick when they were 15. Like, I'm now 36.
Yep, correct.
You'd hope you'd live and you'd learn. Thank you for the fun
Life
fact.
changes.
I've literally become 1,500 different versions of Tara
Like this.
between now and then. True.
Yeah.
Let's go. We'll come back to business soon. Like, take me back to childhood. Like, where did you grow up? What was life like as a young Tara?
It was hard. It was hard.
Tell me about your family and mum and dad.
Okay, so mum had me as a single mum. So she had me when she was 18. She met dad, I believe, at her year 12 graduation. He was a security guard, obviously protecting her, you know, from predators like himself. He's no longer with us, but and it was fine. Like, he came and they weren't in a relationship. They were kids, you know. So dad was married to somebody else like in my early years. So they were never together. And then there was this weird sort of stage where I'm pretty sure she was like, well, it's either this kid or me. And I understand, like, he was with his wife and didn't really have much to do with me. And my mum got remarried and I grew up with that person, Craig, as my father figure.
Yep.
What kind of father figure? Like, I have very fond memories of him where I feel the love. However, he worked with Jason Moran. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. Like, I remember going to drug deals and things with cash. We had our house raided. I'd visit him in prison. There was a lot of that sort of stuff that went on.
When you, like, back then, do you remember thinking this is not right? Like, how old would you have been then?
Young. 5.
So too young to think this isn't normal.
It was my normal, you know? So I too young to know any better.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
I think I knew that. Now that you've mentioned that, I think you might have said something to me, but that's wild.
yeah, it was wild. Yeah, it was wild. But then he passed away as well. He overdosed in prison.
Right.
So he overdosed in bail in prison. And I think at that sort of stage, like, my mum had remarried by then because he was in prison. And by that sort of stage, I'd started seeing more of my dad. So he'd also remarried.
Yeah.
So I started seeing more of my real dad.
Yeah.
Like, fortnightly, you know. Go there for a few days and then come back. And yeah, it was messy.
And you got closer to him as you got older?
Yeah, we got really close and then we got really far apart. We didn't talk, my real dad, we didn't talk for about 5 years.
Right.
And then I saw a photo of him on Instagram, intubated in ICU, from my sister saying, how do you say goodbye to someone? And I was like, fuck, someone, I know we're not talking, but like, someone could have let me know. And I went in to say goodbye and then he woke up.
That's really hard. All right.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Which was awkward.
Yeah. So he's in hospital. You're expecting him to pass.
Yeah.
You're saying your goodbyes to him and he wakes up.
Yeah, they said the ICU consultant pulled us into a room and said, look, we're not expecting anything to happen in the next few hours, but it's not looking good. But we'd all sat around and like, go home, get some rest, and then come back and then we'll make some decisions.
Yeah.
So we went home, got some rest, like went to sleep, came back in the morning and he was sitting up extubated.
Wow.
It's like, okay, someone could have let us know. That's kind of a big change. And so I walked in and I was like, oh, shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So it all worked out for the better, but just also unexpected.
Yeah. Okay. So how old were you then?
Late 20s.
Yeah, right. Okay. And how
My life's messy, Paul. Like, I should have given you a brief.
I'm trying to piece the ages together and
There's a lot that happens in between.
Yeah. So when Dad passed, like, what was your relationship like with him when he did pass away?
So when he passed away, we were really close. We were really close. I was a nurse at the time. He got really sick really fast. And I don't think, like my brother and sister, they knew, but they were also young, you know. I don't think he'd been sick a lot and he'd got better. But this time was different. And I was the one that was sitting by his bedside when the doctors came in and would say, there's nothing else we can do, you know.
Yeah. Like he was a clever guy, right? Like he had a good business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you looking back now, do you think that the way he was and the way business, like you've taken a lot from him in the way that
I'm him 100%.
Yeah.
My brother looks like him. I am him. It's weird. Yeah.
Because he's got a well-known business. Like people know about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was always curious to know what the relationship was like and if you took a lot from him business-wise and if, you know, if anything that you do today is kind of off the back of
I think just the work ethic and the drive. You can't teach that.
No.
You've either got it or you don't.
100%.
And, you know, my dad, when he passed, he was very wealthy, but he wasn't always that way. Like he worked really hard his whole life, every day.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was a boss. He was an absolute boss.
How many staff were working in his group?
I think it fluctuated depending on the workload, 30.
Yeah, right.
Around probably on average, sometimes less, sometimes more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And what have you got now in comparison?
45.
Yeah, right. I saw a post actually on Instagram maybe a couple of days ago.
Currently hiring.
Okay, if anyone's watching this and they want a job, we'll throw that out there. Your team always seems to be getting bigger. And I mean, that's only the outside looking in, but you always seem to be, you've got a massive growth mindset. Like, when is it enough? Are you really money driven?
No. And that's, I think,
what's your drive?
Struggle.
What's giving you a fire on the inside? Like what makes it burn for you? Like what makes you tick?
Want to create a global impact for women all over the world. So
tell me a bit more about that in depth. What does that mean in your heart?
Well, I walk into our stores sometimes and I have women burst into tears. I'll be down the street and they'll just want to give me a hug. We've got people who haven't left the house for years because they've got nothing to wear. They don't have the confidence to go to be seen in public, which is just ridiculous. But I was the same. I wouldn't go to Woolworths in case I bumped into someone like you, you know, like from my past, and I'd put on weight and, you know, like you just don't want to be seen. Where we're not just about selling clothes. I always say we're more than a store. It's about being unapologetically yourself and owning yourself and owning your shit. And life happens, changes happen, and life is too short to spend it at home. So to be able to give these women confidence through fashion and through that supportive community to then live their lives and not miss out on these experiences that our life, that's what we want to do on a global scale.
That's amazing. Like I can even get that feeling, like looking at your social media posts, you know, you look at the larger girls on there that just seem to be like oozing with confidence.
Yeah, and it's not just the larger girls. It's we had an event recently and a girl had just lost her baby.
Wow.
Not just, but she hadn't been able to leave the house since the baby had passed away. And she came up to me at an event and she was shaking and she was crying. And I thought something had happened. And she just fell into my arms. She's like, I just want to say thank you because I felt safe to come here. And I've left the house. And we spoke about her baby and, you know, we acknowledged her and we had a really nice chat and she left. And I'll always remember that moment because she wasn't a plus size girl, but we helped her through her shit, you know.
Do you think is that a common theme? Do you feel like a lot of people that get involved with your brand, it's not about the clothing, it's about the support network and how it makes them feel?
I think to a degree. I think everyone has stuff, you know. Everyone's got baggage. It's whether we acknowledge it and we park it and we move on, or whether we let that just simmer in the background and then it just silently controls our life, and we put out this display of who we think the world wants us to be, or are we truly ourselves? And I feel like the Proud Poppy community are truly themselves.
And your
with the
staff
good and the
have a
bad.
similar feel? Like, do you openly chat about this with staff about what it means? Like, is everyone...
Yes. So moving forward, we're very selective now with who works with Proud Poppy. What's the saying? Like, hire slow and fire fast. So it's about...
I've heard that one before.
Yeah. I'm getting better at it, but it's still shit, because it's firing someone is never a good time. And everyone that we hire with, like, they're awesome people, but they've got to live and breathe the brand. Proud
100%.
Poppy is a lifestyle.
Agreed. And, yeah, that's really amazing. I love that. Like, going into more depth about the business, like how long's it been open for now?
4 years in August.
Give me some numbers in a sense of that's going to, as far as growth.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about your first year in business.
Shit.
What happened?
COVID.
Of course.
Like,
what was the real struggles early in the opening of the business?
Cash.
Yeah.
Cash flow. So many ideas, big intentions, small budget.
How do you get around that? What was your plan? Because now you do a lot of marketing online.
This was before OnlyFans, right? So that would have been a great plan. But now we just sell photos of our feet. I'm kidding.
Wow.
But no, like, just I didn't really have a plan, and I got our family in so much debt. We borrowed money. We spent our own money. We sold shit. We took out loans. We took out credit cards. And
there was no plan B.
There was no plan.
I love no plan B. Like,
all in.
Are you the sort of person like I am? Just take a big bite and chew like mad.
Yeah,
is that
balls
you?
to the wall.
100%.
Yeah.
So first year was tough.
First year was tough.
When did you?
Second year was tough. Third year's tough.
It's always tough.
It's always tough.
It's always tough, particularly
different
if
problems.
100%. However, at what point did you feel what I would call to be the tipping point where you felt that you were being remunerated for your work? Like, when did something change one day when you went, you know what, this is coming back to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm feeling it, and I'm seeing something happen in the bank. I'm paying off what I put into it. Like, what was the tipping point?
Like, the business is still, like, our turnover is huge, millions, multi-millions, but the profit is slim to none. And that is because we are still in that growth stage.
Yep.
We haven't plateaued. So the bigger you get, the more equipment you need, the more stock you need, the bigger spaces you need. So it's almost like a bottleneck.
Yep.
So where I don't think we're there yet. It's still that daily, weekly, monthly struggle because, where our break-even point might have been 900K a few months ago, it's now like 1.4. So
Over the period of what?
5 months, but our growth is not normal.
Break even on over a month?
Yeah.
1.5 million?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes me sweat slightly.
Yeah. So the stress is real. Where I used to worry about, getting a $500 bill, $3,000.
How's your wage day?
How?
How's wages for you?
It's not too bad.
Okay.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Our cost at the moment is our operating expenses. So you've got your afterpay fees, you've got your cost of stock. So we're moving toward packaging. So it's the finer little things that we could definitely cut out, but I don't want to because it's all part of the experience. We've got more rents. We've got all this stuff that we're adding to grow the brand. And that will level out. And
do you have a coach?
Drop.
Do you have a mentor or a coach?
I've worked with Erica and Hamish Kramer.
Yep.
Who
I think you've spoken about them.
She's
yep.
amazing.
They are amazing. They're really good for my soul. And now we've moved more towards like a really close friendship.
Yeah.
I'm working at the moment with Colleen Callender, who she's working one-on-one with me and my team. So she's the ex-CEO of Sports Girl, Suzanne's, for 13 years. So she took them out of a receivership to bulk
Goosebumps.
So you're dealing with some big names too.
Yeah.
It must feel good to have that support.
They're dealing with me.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's right. You're all working together. I like how you flip that around. When you can do that. When you do your sales, like they go bananas.
Yeah.
They really go off, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
What was
love
the one you
bargain.
just did recently?
Mystery boxes.
Yeah. What's all that about?
So just a way of putting together value packs.
Yeah.
So, because we've got such a huge range of items available, when it gets down to the last few sizes, it just makes your website messy.
Yeah, right.
So it's still great stock, but it's just messy if it's all drib and drab. So we just end up taking that offline. So you can either write that off as, dead stock, or you can do a warehouse sale, or you can take it to your stores, but then the stores are going to get messy, or you can put it together as a value pack.
Yeah.
And it's not about making profit, because there's no real profit, but it's about just returning that money back for what, like your cost price.
Yeah.
So your customers get a great deal
Yeah.
and you get your money back.
Yeah.
So everyone's a winner.
It's good.
Yeah.
Do you come up with all these ideas yourself, or like who?
Yeah, we work together as a team. My brain doesn't work like normal people. It's busy all the time.
Yeah.
So I go from here to here to here to like, whoa, let's plateau and level out, and then let's get a plane. Let's take over a beach. Let's get a yacht. Let's do this.
Let's get a bus.
Let's buy a bus.
Yeah. That was a funny one.
Yeah.
Have you bought your bus yet?
No, but it's a great idea.
I threw it out to my team about a bus and I got laughed at.
Well, half of my team are no and half of my team are yes. Unfortunately, I'm on the yes side.
Yeah, you're the
so
swing
I
vote.
trump.
You're the swing vote. I want to chat about your husband.
Yeah.
I want to chat about two more things, like your husband and what you just said. Like you travel, you always, I'm tired watching you.
I'm tired.
How do you move yourself around so often? You're always on a plane.
Yeah.
1 minute you're in Doreen, then you're fucking somewhere in Queensland, and I'm like, what is going on? Like,
What is going on?
Like, what does your weeks look like? And
My weeks are a little bit out of control. I need to get better at setting boundaries and saying no.
so you're a yes woman.
To a degree. I'm trying to do everything all at once, and it's impossible. So I need to get better at blocking my days, blocking my time. I'm very busy, but I'm trying to keep my kids settled. So my number one priority above all of this is my children. My childhood was fucked up, so I want them to have a happy, settled childhood where they feel safe and they feel loved.
Because your oldest is what? How old?
5. And I already have regrets.
Do you get mum guilt?
1,000,000%.
What are the biggest, like, what are the main things that you get mum guilt? Is it from travel and just not being there? Are
Well,
you there? You seem to be there.
Yeah, I try to be, when I'm present, and I try not to, like, I don't miss things at school, and I would like to be more present. It's definitely a guilt because plenty of mums work and pop their kids in childcare 5 days a week, but I think, I don't know, I do work a lot.
How much do you work? How many hours do you do a week? Or is it just so scattered?
I will work from the moment I wake up, so I'll check my phone.
I think it's different. Like, it's hard to log hours. Like, I don't know how many hours a week I work, but I know how many hours my mind is on. So
yeah, I've started, so when I get home, so I'll work in the mornings a little bit, like just flicking through quick messages, Slack, all that sort of stuff. I'll get to work 9 o'clock, stay there till 5. I'll get home. And then I try and have those 2 hours with the kids, unless it's something really important. But most things can wait. Where I used to just start work, keep working, and not be with them, but not be working properly either. They go to bed at 7, and then I'll pull my computer out, and then I'll work till
whenever.
I can't keep my eyes open, and then we start again.
And Paul's role in the business, like, because he's full-time Proud Poppy.
Yeah, he is now.
What's he up to?
So he is a jack of all trades, really.
Yep.
So it was just too much. He worked in his own family business and it was just too hard having different priorities and conflicting schedules. At least now we're all on the same team with the same goals. He understands now that if I'm on my phone, I'm not just on my phone I'm working. If he has to get the kids to bed because I've got a live or something booked in, like he understands that trumps me doing bath time that night, you know.
Did you find that in early years, like how has your relationship been through the growth of Proud Poppy? Like have you had tough times?
Yeah, so recently, and I think it's about whether he's my husband or whether it's anyone, it's about not creating a role for a person. It's making sure you've got the right people in the right seats. So he came out of his business and we put him into a role that we needed filled, which was really important. But was he the right person for that job? No.
So you fired him?
So I fired him.
How does he go working in a business with all females?
Well, he's got sisters. He's very soft. He's everyone's husband. So he's the Proud Poppy husband. He's a beautiful man.
Yeah, he's such a kind guy.
He's kind. He's caring. You know, he works really hard. But, you know, it's about positioning him where his skills are most useful.
What is he great at?
Warehousing, logistics, like moving stuff around, stock, that inventory control.
Yep.
Paying invoices on time, not so much.
Not so much?
Is
anyone really good at that?
No, I'm definitely not. But like, you know, having those tough conversations with suppliers saying, you know, we are going to be late on this bill.
Yep.
That wasn't his strong point. Or following up faulty stock. That wasn't his strong point. So it's just about repositioning him where he's most valuable.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Looking back on like where you've come from and where you are today, like are you where you envisaged yourself? Like what did you want to be when you grew up?
Jillaroo.
What's that?
Cowgirl.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you still have a little, is there a part of you that?
I am terrified of horses. So
Right.
My first job, so my work experience job was crotching sheep at a farm up in Yea. Loved it. On the farm doing fencing. I just wanted to go to the Northern Territory just when Troy Dan was big, right?
Troy Dan was massive.
He was one of my dad. So Troy Dan's friend Milton was friends with my dad. So he had a cattle farm and that was always my plan. I'm going to leave school and I'm going to be a Jillaroo. By the time I got to the end, that was not the plan anymore. Thank God.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that was the plan.
And advice for anyone that may watch this. What advice would you give to yourself? Like if you could turn back and you're 18 years old, what you know now, like what are you telling yourself? What are you reminding yourself as a young girl?
That you don't need anybody else. You can choose to allow people in your life and choose who you spend this life with, but you are actually okay on your own.
That's good advice. I think that's good for everyone really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. What's next? You made a comment to me right at the start after I mentioned that you've got Doreen.
Yeah, so our plan is to scale. So we want to double the business in the next 12 months. So we're actively working towards that.
Wow.
What that means in terms of structure, that's what we're really working on, and that's what I'm working really hard with Colleen. What that looks like, who that looks like, where that looks like.
Did you find work addicting? Like addicted to work?
I've got an addictive personality. I'm always addicted to something. Right now it's work and I love it. I need to be busy. My brain is busy. But that's, that's what keeps me sane. Drives me, being busy.
So double the business in 12 months.
Yeah.
Is that a scary thought or exciting?
A little bit of both. Nervous excitement. I need to work smarter, not harder, though. So we want to double but be ready to double. We've got this far without being ready, but we want to be ready before we take the next step.
Yep. I'm looking forward to seeing it. What about Proud Poppy Men's?
It's coming.
Is it coming?
Yeah, loud and proud.
Is this the first time you've ever mentioned that?
No, I don't think so.
If you've announced it.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Proud Poppy Men's.
Yeah.
Is it the same philosophy? Like you're following?
I want to have like dad bod fits or beer belly fits because guys have the same problems as women, right? As we get older.
100%.
Your belly gets bigger.
Why do you think I'm wearing an oversized black hoodie?
Because it looks great. I thought it was part of the vibe.
No.
You know?
It was very strategic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like your arms don't get bigger unless you go to the gym a lot. But once we hit, like we're getting close to 40 now.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of us are doing that. So guys still want to be trendy, but they don't want those super long shirts or the singlets with like no one wants to see your nipples, guys.
No, for sure.
You know? So it's about adapting fashion to men in the stage of their life that they're in.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting to see. Have you tapped into that hard yet or not?
It's in the works at the moment.
You're working on it?
Yeah.
Probably down the priority list a little bit.
Look, we're doing PJs, so we've got men's PJs coming and family PJs.
I am on.
You are
them.
on. You're
going to do a robe?
There's a robe.
Really?
Yeah. So that is coming. But like there's still so much I want to do for women, but I also feel like
that was what I was just quickly coming to my mind. If going down the clothing for men, will that sort of dilute what you're trying to do away from what?
Well, it's about having the right team and the right structure. So, and me not having to micromanage everything. So I still want to be creatively involved and I still want to have our values actively pushed through every single piece, you know, our why. And does that come back to our values? Does this meet our why?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I have to be on the ground on the tools across every aspect. I just need the right team.
You need another Tara.
Well.
Have you got another Tara?
Not another Tara. I've got some great team members though.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one thinks about it like you probably are in the same position. Great team members, but unless it's your own, it's very different.
It is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see you the next 12 months.
Thank you. I'm excited too. Right back at you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another day, but that's our work. But no, we love what you do. We love watching you. We think your growth's been amazing. But we just like I don't obviously buy female clothes, but from an outside person looking in, your brand just gives off an amazing vibe of just good feels, encouragement. Like even I get that feel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just from the outside in, like everyone's always around each other, and
it's a family.
It seems that way. Like I don't think what you see isn't what it is in real life. Like I drive past the store and I look through the window and everyone's in there smiling. Like it just seems like a great business.
People come for a chat, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just, it's about that experience.
Yeah.
And the proof of that is in the community that you've built. Like your community is like no other. I'm part of that Facebook group as well, and like the support that you guys have. So special. Yeah.
And it's genuine.
That's the thing, it's genuine.
It's a byproduct of what you've created.
Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping to, like, as it's gotten busier and bigger, I don't get on those pages as much anymore. Like I'll jump in every now and then. And I want to get back to that. Like I want to get back to the core.
Yeah. Well, that's where it started for you.
Yeah.
And that's what you love.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever want to lose that.
Ever.
No.
No.
I like the dress too, by the way. I'm glad you wore is this new?
Casey Rainbow.
Yeah. What's it called?
Electric Leopard.
Electric Leopard?
Yeah.
Is it new?
It's not a new, but it's a fave.
It looks great.
Thanks so
Actually,
much.
you know what? Quickly, because I go into so many people's homes in Doreen.
Yeah.
When I'm getting the tour, I can walk into people's wardrobes and I know where they shopped.
Yeah.
You've got a really distinct brand. And look, and some of your colours, like the staple colours, I suppose you'd call it.
Yeah.
You're in a lot of closets in Doreen, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So you should be so proud of yourself. Like we're so proud of you, and I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
And
MSP.
Yeah. Murder Specialist Platoon at Ivanhoe Grammar. We were in cadets together. We had a good time. Em rolls her eyes at the Ivanhoe Grammar thing, don't you?
It's It's just different.
It's so
small
different.
town, you know, we had a small town. There's only one school.
Yeah.
There wasn't a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
I've loved having you on. I feel like we could just keep chatting.
We could talk all day.
I'm thinking of new things, but maybe we'll do it.
Busy lady.
Maybe we'll do another one down the track.
Yeah, sounds good.
Maybe in 12 months we'll see where you're at.
Let's do it.
All right.
Boom.
Thanks for coming on.